Today, checking in with Chapter 2 of Hrrt da Sp, or, as I'm starting to think of it, is the Book of Wisdom, which, damn, I wish I was paying more attention as a child and had absorbed some more of this wisdom. It starts with Harriet at home, getting ready for kind of bed, and reflecting on Miss Golly's mother and, really kind of harshly judging the old woman and saying, like, she's fat and dumb, and, like, imagining her getting run over by a truck and wondering, what would that do to a body? I should look that up and how that would do. It's like, I sure wouldn't want to become fat and old, like, and dumb, like old Miss Golly's mother. It's just like, just kind of brutal, callous youth. And then she goes to old Golly, who is reading. It's like, what are you reading? She's reading Dostoevsky. And she reads her quote, which is, you should love all of God's creation. And basically that you should kind of be able to see and perceive kind of the divine mystery in everything, to better perceive it, and by that better love everything, truly become united, to truly perceive and understand and love every single thing, every blade of grass, every ray of light in God's creation. And that way of, like, the better kind of the love, something that you contrast that with Harriet, who is just, a kid who's just kind of ravenous for information, who is describing everything, but is not perceiving or loving. Yeah, she goes off to bed with that, but she's also surrounded in love, in that, old Golly says, go off to bed, turn off your light. And then she gets into bed and she turns on the flashlight and she reads until until old Golly comes around and takes away the flashlight and book, like she does every night. It's just like that kind of beautiful kind of ritual that she is ensconced in. And indeed, later we have a thing of contrasting her with Scout, who is like, no, I can't go and practice basketball while you guys are doing your stuff. I have to go home and clean the house. The implication seemed to being his father is a writer who drinks a lot, does not have a mother anymore, and yeah, how Scout is kind of out there. He's not got that love. He is doing his own stuff. So, and you have to make sure that Shira has her love. Shira, come here. Come here, Shira. Whoa. Isn't barking at creatures in the backyard. So, yeah. And then we get her going to school. And her, wow. This is when you're introduced to, their Scout is there at this all-girls school where I guess they hit grade 6, and Scout won't be able to be there any longer because then it'll just be strictly girls. I guess that hitting that adolescent point where they divvy them up, and that making Harriet sad to think Scout will no longer be there. And there's Janie, who Scout's like, oh, she's gonna blow up the world someday. She's getting stranger and stranger. Oh, and there's Pinky Whitehead, this poor other boy there who is skinny and odd and strange, and that nobody likes. That she really, she doesn't even want to look at, but she does look at because she wants to note down what if he's changed. And just like, Pinky Whitehead is just still Pinky Whitehead after the summer, because this is the first day back after summer. And there's a beautiful girl who comes out that she says nobody likes. And then there's the boring boy with purple socks that nobody even bothers to remember his name because he's so boring. He's just known as the boy with the purple socks, which indeed he's got his purple socks on. And we kind of cap this off with her looking at Miss Whitehead to do a speech, kind of to the class, and she just gives this horrible cutting thing about her, starting like ending with like she's got a hanging stomach, and it's like this is all Harriet's point of view, and then we switch to the narrator, and it says Mrs. Whitehead bowed, graceful as a willow tree, and you go, oh, the voice of Harriet is not the voice of the narrator in this book. And the voice of the narrator in this book says, Mrs. Whitehead bows, graceful as a willow tree, which is far more generous and embracing, and that kind of that love, I think that Dostoevsky quote was talking about. And then she comes home, and she's talking to the cook. And the cook says something interesting. She says, like, oh, that, because she's quoting, Miss Golly, who's like, old Golly, who's like, that everyone, you should look at what everyone is like in the world and open your eyes to how there's so many different ways to live and choose one from that, not just, from how your parents live. And just other kind of, just really kind of loving, caring words of wisdom. But the cook says, like, oh, that old Golly, I don't know, there's something about her. It's like, what? And the cook might have been perhaps going to launch into that, but then old Golly comes in, and the cook just shuts up. It's like, it's obviously a little bit of scared of old Golly, who is really together and with it. But it's kind of the intimation that, oh Golly, like a lot of childhood heroes, while she might be quite wonderful, probably is a human being and has her own human failings. She's already got a mother who you get the sense that she does feel some sadness about a mother who seems to not really be all there for whatever reason, for whatever undefinable adult reason that she might not be there. So yeah, that's chapter 2 of Hrrt da Sp. Book of Wisdom, apparently. Lovely.